Let me get a little sip of Sprite here, guys. It helps me keep fueled. Ah, I better quit sipping on that. You guys are going to think this is like a Coca-Cola Corporation video or something here. Just to kind of round out the box set, I guess, I'll talk about that a little bit. You, of course, get the Scream bonus disc that comes with the box set. Now, this is pretty worth the while. I mean, it's got the behind the scenes that you really want. It's got some lengthy documentaries on it. It gives basically what you already knew from the other standard features from the disc, but it's worth picking up if you can find it on the cheap. The box set also sports a little booklet here. I'll show you. It's got the little stills from the movie in it, tells some background, but it's all the same background you're going to get from just watching the video. I mean, who reads anymore? I mean, geez. I mean, I'm in and out in 90 minutes. Why do I want to sit there and read a book? No, I actually try to read sometimes, guys. I don't read a whole lot. But just in closing, my thoughts here on the Scream series. I do hope that they do a Scream 4. I hear tell that they're headstrong about doing it. But until it's, you know, the first frame of film is shot, it's really not a movie. I just hope that they try to create some kind of... this is just my speculation here, guys, while we're on the Scream subject. I hope that they create some kind of a different kind of storyline, which I don't know how they're going to do it. That's part of the fun, I understand, but it's going to have to be some kind of more mysterious killer or less motive. There doesn't have to be any reasons why, or they're going to have to get some kind of anchor into the storyline in this Scream 4 if they're going to do the trilogy idea, which Kevin Williamson and others behind the project is they're trying to frame this up as like they did with the first three there, and it'll work on the, of course, on the success of part 4. You know, and that's one of those deals where you never know till it's out in the theaters if people are really going to like it or not. Personally, I think part 4 is going to work because the crowd that really liked the first trilogy here, they're really going to still be about still movie going age, and everybody's going to be wanting to see a horror movie by that, you know, a real horror movie by that time, I gotta say, because a lot of this remake crap, it's the same. The best way I can explain this remake crap that's going on, guys, it's just one of those deals where you jump off the diving board or off the side of the pool, you make a big splash, the splash being the opening weekend at the movie theaters. Well, after about 5 minutes, that splash and the water starts settling and the pool is still again. There's no splash anymore. Do you want to revisit that splash? No, that's already gone. It's happened. So that's one of those deals with the remakes. If you go, a lot of people are going to just go run right out. That's why they build these things up and they propaganda these things to death, these goofy remakes, because they want you to go out and spend the money that first weekend, because that's the only way they can make their for sure make their money back, because they're really trying to just get your dollars at the end of the day. That's why I think the future of video anyway, or future of movie watching, is definitely going to be moving towards the home. It already is, with digital downloads and all that kind of stuff. Me, I'm still kind of old school. Whether it is Blu-ray or VHS or whatever, I got to have something in my hand. I got to have something there to hold while I'm watching the movie and read the behind the scenes and all that. I'm too much of a collector at heart, so it's just one of those deals where I'm torn about change and why, Now, getting back to the point, with remakes and everything we're being subjected to, they just don't have any rewatchability to them, mainly because it's all been done before. They're not making original stuff. At least with Scream, they've made movies before, but they were their own series based on the pop culture of the movies that came before them. They didn't just out and out remake Halloween. They didn't out and out remake Friday the 13th. The Scream movies took their cues from all these multiple different horror movies. I think that's what really saved the first Scream movies, is that they didn't try to make excuses for themselves. They just said, look, we're going to make a movie here and we're going to name drop every horror movie we can get the copyright to, talk about Jamie Lee Curtis at will. We're going to just talk about how goofy, what sequels are better than the original. They're going to do all those things in those movies and pack them so chock full so that every movie geek out there is going to be watching these movies for years. Hence me, the movie geek, sitting here watching these movies even, a decade after they've been out. So it's just one of those deals of rewatchability. The Scream series has decent rewatchability even after you know who the killers are in the movies. That's usually the turning point when a lot of people say, well, I know who did it, and they go on. But that's not all there is there in the Scream movies. That's where I think the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies fell short. There wasn't that much there in essence because Scream had already taken off. By that time, Kevin Williamson just sold the stories to some other company. I think Mandalay or Columbia or somebody, Sony Pictures or whatever. So the thing is, by the time you get to those movies, all they are is just Scream dressed up in a different setting and bam. The problem with I Know What You Did Last Summer as opposed to the Scream movies is once you know who the killer is, big hairy deal. Who gives a crap about some fisherman out there that looks like every other fisherman? At least with the Scream movies, he wore a costume. I mean, you couldn't tell who it was and it kept you seething until the end of the movie to know who it was. With I Know What You Did Last Summer, you know who it is practically at the beginning of the movie. They show the killer's face, and then they keep you in suspense through the movie, but then at the end of the movie, you just find out it's some dude. Then he shows his face in the other movies, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not really, it's not really enticing. At least with the Scream movies, they gave you a costume to look at and jump out, and, albeit by the third movie, you're kind of like, well, okay, I've seen that goofy costume before. But at least in Scream 3, they tried to change it around a little bit instead of having the voice, the voice changer that the killer uses and makes that monotone voice. He was able to fake other people's voices in that movie and, kind of do some different stuff. Which kind of brings us back full circle to Scream 4. I know I'm just rambling on here, guys, but follow me through this. It's like a journey. It's a journey, guys. You got to follow me through it. But like with Scream 4, that's why I'm kind of hoping that Kevin Williamson, if he is going to write these projects, or any other sequels for that matter, that he's kind of grown to the fact that, okay, we've seen the pop culture, we've seen all this stuff in part 1, 2, and 3. Give us something different. Maybe give us the same tone as the first Scream movies, but give us something a little different this time around, because if not, you're going to make a Scream 4, it's going to flop, and then basically no more movies. Because at the end of the day, guys, these movie studios don't care about us. I don't care what anybody says. Dimension Films, whoever, I'm not going to keep pointing the dirty finger, Warner Brothers, whoever, they don't care about us. They care about the almighty dollar. At the end of the day, they got to make money. That's the only thing the studio houses that's what they're interested in. That's why a lot of times you have to go and search and pick and scour the earth for your independent films that are financed themselves and actually have a good story to tell and have stood the test of time. One recent one is Trick or Treat, released by Warner Brothers Premiere Home Video. Why that one never went to the movie theater is beyond me. 2 words, I did figure out why, in my opinion: Superman Returns. Because the director was the co-writer of that movie, and Bryan Singer was the I think the producer of Trick or Treat. He was the director of Superman Returns, which basically broke even. It didn't go totally bankrupt, but they sunk so much money in that highly overproduced project to the point where that creative team was given the shaft, as far as I'm concerned, by Warner Brothers to not release that movie out in theaters. Now here we are talking about other movies, but that kind of gives you an idea of where I'm coming from with these Scream movies. Scream movies basically have stood the test of time, in my opinion. Now, a lot of people don't like to watch them over again because they know who did it. But in closing, guys, I gotta say, it was fun to watch these movies again, and it leaves me wanting a Scream 4. So I'll leave you with that. Take care, dudes. This has been the first and hopefully a series of other videos. My thoughts on the Scream Trilogy. Hope to see you soon. Leave your comments, video responses, whatever you like, and we'll share in the commentary goodness of YouTube.